following program is brought to you with limited commercial interruption.
Today's broadcast is being simulcast in broken English.
I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world.
Welcome to the show that we're doing right now.
What the hell are we doing on this show?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Let's go.
What is this?
Giggity, 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 goo.
Who else but
The Q.
it's showtime?
Gentlemen, let's get down to business.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can dig it, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Q. You're listening to the best pop culture, current events, current affairs show east or west of that Mississippi River, hailing from the great city of St. Louis and worldwide at theqnow.com. I am your host, Mark Bland. We have Marcus Boston of the Soulardians back and always forward media. He's back for more fun with us. Thank you so much for him coming in. Elon Musk is really screwing up this social media thing. I'm going to talk a little bit about Elon. And we have the final first round bracket of the best action movie since the 1980s. Today is the 2010s, the teens. Should we say teens? Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Kull is here also.
Yes, we should say that.
Should we say teens, the teens?
Yeah, because
the 2010s?
2000 to 2009 is the aughts.
That is the aughts,
Yeah.
but should we say the teens? I guess it is
Isn't
the
it
teens.
the teens?
It is the teens.
It is now.
It's the 20s, the teens, the aughts. Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus Boston, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the Q.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me back. This is a location.
Yeah, listen, I understand being the superstar that I am of a radio show host, okay? I understand that introductions are important.
Yeah.
They really are. And if they don't come off the way that they need to, they can change the vibe of everything across the board. It's very possible, right? Like, just think about it, right? Overtime sounds great. Overtime sounds great. And so you're the team that doesn't win the tip-off in the basketball game, and now you're down by 2 real quick.
Yeah.
Now you're behind 2 the entire overtime, and it didn't matter that you played overtime. Right. Do you see my point? Okay, so if I could have you be so bold as to give yourself your own introduction here on the Q. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marcus Boston.
I am Marcus and Listeners Boston, podcast Poppy.
Okay, pause. You're going to have to speak up, okay? We're not making love. You're coughing all over the microphone. I turn it off, man. You're hacking all over the place. It's like you don't have any professionalism about you whatsoever. Okay,
I was trying to come in and be a humble and just a team player.
You are a humble.
I be one of the guys.
You are Nesmus. Listen, you are a humble team player. Now, you're going to have to speak up. I know you're trying to make love to that microphone, but I need you to be just a bit louder, okay? All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus Boston.
I am Marcus Boston of Always Forward Media, of Cognac Corner, of the Soulardians, of Coochie Crew, of All Things Are Amazing in the Soulard area, and I am Podcast Poppy. Marcus Onesimus Boston, welcome to the mob. And normally we round of applause like, yeah.
And that's it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Marcus Onesimus Boston has now introduced him. Is it an introduction? It's an introduction. He could have he introduced himself, but could he have introduced himself? That's not a word, but could he have introduced himself? Can we create words tonight on the show? Is that
everything's made up anyway?
Is that going to be the basis of our show?
That is true. All words are made up.
All of it's made up,
guys.
So why would we stop now?
Every single thing that has ever happened on this earth was not. I've said this on the show in front of Jason before. There was not some guy in a satellite spaceship, whatever it is, flying around from planet to planet named Bob.
Yep.
And when he gets around to getting to the United States, then he'll sit down and have a meeting with all the world leaders to make sure that everything's going well on the planet Earth. And here's the new stuff that they need to know about, and here's the new guns they're going to have.
Like people made it up.
Nope. It's all made up. Like we wrote those words in the books based off stories that were told for me. Think about this. I know you all love the Bible, but one of my two favorite things about the Bible is one, The majority of what everybody loves to quote and talk about was written 400 years after the people in the stories were already dead.
Nobody was there.
Nobody was ever.
Nobody.
Okay,
Nobody.
Hold on. Listen. I could have gotten to 150 years past that situation and said nobody was there. I'm talking 400 years.
Right.
Like, so far down the food chain, so much telephone has been played with the stories, the thoughts, the ideas, that now we've decided whatever today is, that is what is the story.
That's canon.
That is canon.
It would be like
whatever survives to this point is going to stay here forever. No, that's not how it works.
it would be like somebody writing like a first-person book about the Salem witch trials today. Like you weren't there,
was
and they
not
write
there.
it like they were there, and it's all from stories handed down or any historical documents they find which didn't exist back
So
then.
Cleopatra walked down these stairs.
right here.
I wasn't there, but I think that's how she would have walked.
So the reason I even brought that up a little bit right there was the fact that, well, you introduced yourself. What were we
I did.
talking about
True.
again?
His professionalism.
Yeah, you guys got me. You're a very professional man.
Yeah, talk about
We were talking about God. We were talking about God, and we were talking about like everything is made up.
Everything.
Yeah,
Everything
all
is-
words are made up.
It's all made up, guys. It's all made up. I'm
We just
sorry.
all agreed that that's what it means.
Well, let's get into some stories, guys. Let's get into some discussion. Reverend Mariama White Hammond was one of several speakers at the Earthshot Prize launch in Boston this past Wednesday when she made a speech that included comments on the impact of racism on climate change. Okay? She told the crowd to consider the legacy of colonialism and racism, adding that it had impacted people across the world. Prince William and Kate Middleton touched down in Boston on this past Wednesday also amid a furious Buckingham Palace race row. William's godmother, Lady Susan Hussey, I think Hussey or Hussey, something like
Oh,
that.
wow. This
Hussey,
is better.
Hussey or Hussey, however you want to
My
say it.
godmother's a
It's
Hussey.
It's Hussey.
Wow.
Was accused of making racist comments to a black charity founder at Buckingham Palace on Tuesday night.
I believe it.
It was an event that was being held there on Tuesday night. She resigned from the royal household after the controversy emerged, and William's Kensington Palace spokesperson condemned her unacceptable comments. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this, guys.
What'd she say? What she said?
Well, she had talked about consider the legacy of colonialism and racism. Basically, she was pointing
the best
out.
thing that ever happened to y'all.
Well, no. Well, the way this works out is simply the idea that they were giving away these prizes, and these two, Prince William and Kate Middleton, were coming into town, into Boston, to be a part of that situation right there. Well, this all just happened to happen literally the night before while they were on their way and this other stuff. Like,
he need to cut that hair off. He got that bad. He let that go, Bob.
You talking about?
It's
like
bad.
me?
Like he too young, but look at that crazy. He looks crazy. You
Like
got a
me?
you got a nice round head. Cut that
No.
stuff out, baby.
Should I do the same thing with my little craziness?
You got
right
more than
here?
you got more than he does. Like,
I
you
don't-
Both
straight.
have more than he does.
You have more than I have, but
Both of y'all got more. His stuff is
mine
gone. Like, it just looks nuts in here. Like, fam, you got to me over the head. You two,
Marcus,
to me
my
above
hair,
the head.
I have two cul-de-sacs right here. And then I don't even understand. No. The reason I brought this story up, guys, is simply this.
Sex.
It's simply this. There has always, listen, when the Queen just passed away, right? The Queen just passed away, what was it?
A couple months ago or something.
Couple months ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
All right. And one of the big talks that came out of that was trending on social media that a lot of people were talking about right after she passed away in that first 24 hours was the fact that she was one of the biggest bringers, queen-wise or royals-wise, of colonialism to different parts of the world. Because by the time she becomes queen, technology advanced so much further with boats and cars and everything like that.
Well, after World
she
War
was
II.
actually able to get colonialism into places that typically they weren't able to get to easily prior to her reign. And so colonialism, it's okay. It's a tough argument for us to have here in the United States. We have our own issues with slavery and the Civil War and everything like that, okay? Us discussing these things is difficult because when they're discussing them, they're talking about they're talking about 1,000+ years of historical time that they are like pulling from right?
Yeah.
That has been written down, okay, for them all these years. And that is what is kind of their guide for where they're going with their stuff. And so, like, when they talk about colonialism, it might be happening in Trinidad, Tobago, right? A completely different part of the world where Britain is starting to implement their government and those policies into these places. But the reason these places make these deals with a place like England or Germany or wherever it is, it doesn't matter what country it is that works into the colonialism. The reason they make these deals is because they don't have shipping supplies at the same level that other places do. A larger country like Britain has a lot of shipping structure and infrastructure, like you said, Marcus. So they bring that to those places. It's the ability to now. Also, what comes with that is the historical issues.
The cost of doing business.
The cost of doing business with these people or those people or however you want to pronounce
people.
it. Any people. And so, like, with them comes a lot of that historical relevancy in the world of racism and how it's always been a part of their culture for so many years. But then again, guys, we're also talking about places that are like, all right, I could sit here and talk about racism in America all I want. And this man right here is a black gentleman who could have family members that were physically affected by that racism over the last whatever hundreds of years in the United States of America.
Right? Yeah.
Doesn't touch a single hair on the top of a head of a tribe in Africa or any of those countries. For real. Not trying to say one. I'm just saying, like, that those parts of the world are so old and have had people in them for so long. We're talking
in the worst ways for so long.
Thousands of years.
Thousands of years. We're not talking 250 years like the United States. We're not talking 300 years like the United States. We're talking 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 BC. We're talking Cleopatra. We're talking like thousands upon thousands of years. And that racism has been there every single one of those millennia. It didn't matter what part of the millennium existed. It didn't matter if it was a lighter-skinned black guy trying to do it to a darker-skinned black guy or a white person in America doing it to a black person in America. It doesn't matter. It still felt the same way when they got lashed. It still felt the same way when they got treated. It still felt the same way when they had to, like, sleep in a cage or sleep in the ground on the dirt or whatever while they were getting beaten and hurt and bloodied. Didn't matter what part of the world it happened in or what day it happened in.
Well,
it sucked, is what I'm saying. And those people, we can't even touch them. We can't even touch their historicalness. So when I say the England part, we're talking thousands of years of racism that have been accused towards them. They're very, very, right? They're the, what are they? They're more...
Britain since the Romans.
Well, no. They're like Finland and Nordic.
Yeah.
They're more of a Nordic-style people because they're in a part that gets very cold quite often for long periods of time. The Scottish people are that way. The Irish people are that way. They all live on the same island in the same countries over there. Germany's that way. Like... all of that is like that there. You go down by the Sudan, you go down by Egypt and that whole area there in the Middle East. Everybody's dark. But no, everybody's dark.
Well, what, 4,000 years ago?
4,000 years. That was the middle.
That was the end.
That was built by slaves.
It was lush.
That was slave
labor.
labor.
But here's the other thing. We still use words. Think about this. They called that the Middle East because of where it was in comparison to what they knew the world was 3,000 years ago. That's why they called that area the Middle East, because they hadn't even figured out the whole China end to end with like the United States on the other. Like they had no clue. So like for kind of like there were Civil War battles in the South, and the South would be considered southern Pennsylvania. Think about that, guys.
Yeah.
In the Civil War,
Well, Virginia.
some of the biggest battles of the war were fought literally by people from the South, but South was 3 states that way. And I'm up in Pennsylvania having this fight right now. And they're considering the southern border of Pennsylvania, they're considering that the South. That's where the South begins, way down there by Virginia. Context is super important. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Context is so important.
But the racism.
Racism is just good business.
I don't feel like England typically is a racist place. Now, I am a white person from America, the country founded by a bunch of Puritan English people who decided to jump on a boat. So maybe there's a bias there potentially. But I'm going to be very open and direct about this with both of you guys. I don't feel, when I look at England, right? Or even when I hear about soccer situations, right? Where they get really racist, throw bananas, do stupid stuff over the top like that. I don't even think of those countries as being racist. Like, the situations I hear about are so hit and miss, but it's probably because we're here in America. If I was over there and my timeline was full of Kensington Squares right down the street, different story. I'm going to see different things over there. At the same point, Marcus, let me ask you a question. Has Black America capitalized cornered? Have they cornered the slavery? We are the worst of the slaves market. That idea that when we tell that story of slavery in the world, right? The story that's going to stick out the most, the biggest, the best, and is going to be the most impactful and painful is going to be the story of Black Americans being brought over on ships, forced to work against their will in the South, and then up to the Civil War and all that. Has American people of color cornered that market in the world, so that whenever, like, hey, you go ahead, Trinidad and Tobago. You tell us your stories of racism. They tell their stories, and you guys go, please.
Yeah, hold my beer.
Hold my Hennessy.
Hold my Hennessy. Hold my Cavassier for a second.
Yes. I'm going to tell you why. Because the modern superpower is here because of it. Like,
okay,
you don't get the machine that we live in now without that. It doesn't happen. Like,
you're right.
You're
100% right.
It took a lot of things to get in line to get there because it was a British colony that originated slavery here and blah blah blah. But like, a whole country was built off of great business, but more corruption. Like, free labor is great business, but it's the price of it, and then not even able to say I'm sorry about it is the problem.
And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, that this is a colony. The United States was a colony, but not a colony of England. Remember,
what was it?
Remember, it was they got mad because of religion. They jumped on boats and they decided to leave England. It wasn't the government of England. It wasn't the people in power of England at the time. There wasn't a decision of, we're going to send some people to go look for a new place to live. And then if they find it, it's all going to... Nope. These were renegades who jumped on boats late at night. I think only 80 of them survived, like 120 dead people on the boat when they finally got to the shores of America. Mm-hmm. Okay. And they're the ones who put everything together. There was no help from England. What happened was, because they were English and they didn't know anything other than England and everything in England, our money and denomination became English. The people that we traded with became English. That's how the English government got involved in the first place, and the king was able to tax and be over the top of things. That's why they would call these colonies over here, because they didn't know any other word at the time. Like, these are things that get labeled and thrown on, you guys came here and you did this and you did that and it's on you. And it's like, whoa. First off, that was 300 years ago. 2, I had nothing to do with any of that. And 3, wasn't my decision. I wasn't like, I don't know what to tell people. I'm not trying to like dismiss white privilege or like downplay racism or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, listen, if you want to knock me for me, fine, but knock me for me. Don't knock me for something that I couldn't control 80 years ago. Because if I would have been there as an adult, I might have had a completely different view and handled it a completely different way.
And think about it, like, America was still like functioning as the war was going on. Like, we're functioning now. There's a war going on. But, like, we're functioning as doing our lives. But, like, think about, there's a civil war going on in America. But there's parts of America, like, well, we ain't quite there, but we keep reading about it in the paper. We're going to go ahead and go to church on Sunday and go back to work on Monday. Like,
that's because none of it really came down there, except for Tecumseh's march through Atlanta and burning it down. Like, there was really nothing that went south and really battled down in the South too much. Like, most of it was done, like, around Virginia and West Virginia through that area.
If you was further north or further west, you was like, whoop.
I guess it doesn't exist.
We'll see who wins.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here on KYRO, 1280 AM, KYRO News Radio, KYRO.com, every single Saturday, 1 to 3 p.m. This is the Q Show. I'm Mark Bland. That is Marcus Boston, and that is Jason Kull over there. We will be back right after this. 1280 AM KYRO. Mark Bland, the Cult, Contrary Man. Jason Kull here. Marcus Onesimus Boston. We're hanging out here on 1280 AM KYRO. Brought to you by John Beal Roofing. Make sure you check out John Beal Roofing. That's 1-800-JOHN-BEAL for all your roofing needs. We have just been kind of hanging out and talking amongst ourselves here, having a good time. And this is a story I talked to Marcus about off the air. Jason, you don't know about this story yet, but I'm going to read you this story. Are you ready?
I am totally ready.
Because I feel like once I read this story to you, sir, you might even pull your own hair out. It's possible.
I can't. I'm holding on to what
I know. You're holding on to what you got, but you might end up having...
Like right now, I'm not bald.
To pull your own hair
But
out.
thinning. And
All
I
right.
can still look like I have hair.
A caterer is being sued for serving food containing cannabis to wedding guests. A 76-year-old woman who was there is seeking $30,000 in damages. Caterer Jocelyn Bryant allegedly prepared cannabis-laced pastas and breads. At least 8 guests were hospitalized after eating the various foods. She allegedly did so in collaboration with the bride, Danya Savaboda, 42. Both were charged in April with delivering marijuana and tampering with food. Now, this falls under the category of Florida woman, right? Not
Right.
Florida man.
That falls in the category of you're a moron.
Now, I wanted to talk to you guys about this because this is kind of...
Well, who gets hospitalized by having an edible? Good
No,
God.
hold on. I think that I presented it to Marcus in a little bit of a different light so that maybe this will help you see where we're coming from on this. This is a crazy story.
No.
You have a 42-year-old bride. She has invited all of these people, maybe even some kids included in this, to this wedding of hers.
Yeah.
Okay? These people show up. Some are older, some are younger. They said, they didn't say the age of the person. It just said that, 76-year-old woman. Okay.
Yeah.
You're 76 years old.
Whoa.
Could be taking a few medicines. Might be on some stuff.
Maybe.
Possible.
Probably. More than likely.
You're the bride. You go to the caterer and say, yo,
why'd you jack this food up a little bit?
I know I'm paying you to feed all these guests. So I got 200 plates that are ready to rock, right?
Yeah.
But I need everything on all of those plates
To be
infused with cannabis.
That's just a whole idea.
So that we've got the 76-year-old lady who's on her glycerin, nitroglycerin,
Something
other
that has
things.
a bunch of side effects and don't.
And now she's stoned out of her brain, thinking she can't breathe and she's dying.
Can't feel my face
Because Danya Savaboda over here, or whatever her name is, she's an idiot.
Right. I mean, I get being angry at that, and that's not cool. You can't do that to people without telling them first. But you don't need money. You don't need to sue, and you don't need to go to the hospital.
They should sue more.
Because you're too high.
No, I'm suing.
You go to the hospital.
I am.
Wait, Marcus is suing, he says.
Conservative person. I don't know this wacky tobacco. Wacky tobacco.
The wacky tobacco.
The devil's lettuce.
These devil's lettuce in my bloodstream because you want to be funny. I'm suing. I want it all.
I'd be like, you know what? You go to the hospital. I'm going to eat the rest of your food and hang out and listen to this DJ play music.
I just found it. I find it so weird that there are people that think.
Well, that's pretty dumb to do, for one.
Well, think about this. Well, we were talking last week that we talked about off there. I don't mind talking about it on there. I'm not going to give any names out, but we ran into a situation where we noticed something that wasn't possible on social media that was happening.
Yeah.
That we were like, that's just not possible. You can't pull that off.
Cannot.
And it's kind of odd.
You cannot post on a account that is hacked and you can't get in.
Now, with that being stated, I've got a similar situation in the fact that I've got a person who thinks that in their mind, for sure, 100%, that going down this alley over here, good idea. Nobody's going to notice. This is going to make a ton of sense.
Right. No,
okay?
do that.
But what happens is in all these cases, people notice, and it doesn't make a ton of sense. And we're just sitting here scratching our head going, what makes you at 42 of all ages, that old, think that you putting a bunch of cannabis in everything is a good idea for everybody from all these different backgrounds. Sweetheart, you can't even keep your own friends from arguing with each other, and there's just 3 people in that text chain.
Well, it's one thing to tell the
You see my
caterer,
point?
be like, hey, the wedding party, make the wedding party's food special.
Well, you could do that, or you could, hey, listen, you want to infuse something? Why don't you infuse some cupcakes?
Right.
Put it on a separate tray off to the side and say,
mark
listen,
it.
this
Don't
is
eat these.
Right. These are cannabis infused.
21 only.
21 only, 20 plus only, and a cannabis infused. Like, that's how you do it. And then if I'm Aunt Mildred,
Secretly dose
I'm
people.
76-year-old Aunt Mildred.
Yeah, and if
who's
you
there,
eat one, it's your fault.
and I want to go get me one of those cupcakes, I'll go get me a cupcake and I'll put it on my plate. I'm 76 years old. I've done a lot of things in dirtier places.
You eating food like eating food.
I would eat like 4
You
of
eat
those
food
cupcakes,
slower
man.
when those infused.
I would get down at that
I eat
wedding.
my
Did you
chicken
guys-
breast and mashed potatoes like it's just regular. And wait a minute.
Did you guys know that I was a wedding DJ for like a 2-year period of my life?
I was too for like 2 years before I switched to clubs.
I was with a company called Complete Music.
I was with a company called Prime Cut.
Okay, and Complete Music was based over. It was
Marcus is laughing.
Well,
yes,
first,
yes, it was owned by a white person. That's why it's called Prime Cut.
Yes,
it wasn't
was.
cool.
Correct, sir. Correct. Colonial Prime Cuts is what it was.
We were
Colonized.
all super racist, and we were like, we only played
Historical
Ted
racism.
Nugent and Molly Hatchet, and we were like you don't want to
1,000
listen to this? Tough.
1,800 years of racism too, man. Like real long, thousands of years.
Like hard R type racism.
No! Oh no!
Real bad. It was tough.
Prime
It was Midwest. It was Midwest. It was. That's what it was called. Unfortunately, the guy who owns it had passed away.
You know what I always found funny about like the words you use in race? Like they were just the words of like colors of crayons and stuff like that. It was like negro or negron. Like it was just those words, right?
Like, trying to trip me up.
Wait,
in
no,
school.
hold on. The best one is if you go over to Europe, it's negra, negron, it's neg. Okay,
Like I'm not. Even
you come
touching
over
that.
here, it became negro. Like we went southern with it just off the bat. Like we didn't even have southern colonies yet.
Right.
They're like negro.
Right.
Like, it's so
Just ready to
southern
go.
sound.
I
Like,
should not be laughing.
We were.
At
We were designed to be awful.
this is horrible. All right, this person's horrible too. Okay, you're just a
Yeah, that's
horrible
just dumb.
woman.
I mean, the other person is just a drama queen, and you don't go to the
face hurt.
hospital because you're too high. You put on the Big
That's
Lebowski
because
and
he's
you chill
white,
out.
but either you're laughing because you're just trying to get through this painful moment of your life,
laughing 'cause we're funny.
or you're laughing because we're legitimately funny and you're enjoying
Super
yourself.
hilarious, dude. That's what's going on.
Now he tells everybody who's black and hears this show, he's like, "Nah, man,
No, they're cool, man.
It was the
They're
first thing
cool.
Mark said. It was I was just trying to get through the show. Like I wasn't cool with any of it. I was just trying to laugh it off. I was trying to laugh it off."
It's
He talks to other
something-
white people. It's like, "Oh, dude, those guys are funny. They're funny." When he said Negro instead of Negron, it was funny to me.
I
It was
guarantee.
super funny.
I hate
their
more.
prime
I
cuts.
hate more white people than Marcus does. I guarantee it. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
am like.
Oh no.
I am on the field.
Listen.
I'm
Listen.
touchdowns, baby.
Listen, I'm going to make this comment right now. This is a 100% true comment. You can take this, news clip it, put it up onto TikTok. I don't care what you do with this. This is a 100% true comment. Based off what you just said, Jay,
Yeah.
I hated more and have hated more white people and still do to this day in my life than Malcolm X ever did in his entire life. Straight up. I'll put
know
that
that.
on
Right.
money.
He was an
I'll
angry
put
dude, though. I don't
that on money. Straight up money, 100%. I've hated and despised way more white people in my life than any other culture of people that exist. And that's a dead true statement, whether black or Asian or Spanish. I don't even care where you're from. Whatever that culture is, I guarantee you, I hate more white people than
I don't-
anyone, than most people in other cultures, like even hate the other people. Like, I'm just being dead honest
I don't
because
know
it's
if I-
crazy. Like, I don't like just straight line despise all white people
yeah.
top to bottom, but neither did all those people. Because think about this. We could sit there and say, oh, yeah, but you said Malcolm X, but I'll go, except for Malcolm X had white people within his life that he did lean on. He did work with. He did want to be around. Not every single person these gentlemen preached about, whether it was him or Martin Luther King or anybody who preaches about Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson right now, or anybody. It's not everybody in the world that they are against.
No, I got it.
They're never against everybody in the world. They just want everyone to understand this exists for this reason right here. To think any other way is stupid because look at the proof right here.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all their basis is. Now, they have a lot of things they've said over the years and interviews and books that they've written and conversations with this guy and that guy. And so, fine. And all of that's just as valid. But at the end of the day, most people who are trying to get through to others are never like staunch this way or staunch that way unless you go the negative route. When you go KKK, you go down those, what's the problem, right? Oath Keepers, down that road right there. Those roads right there. Those people are like, you can't like any of them over there, which is funny because the minute they're questioned about it by anybody else outside of their own race, they go, well, yeah, I know a bunch of people that I'm friends with, I'm cool with that are black or Spanish or this or that. And I go, you're right. You probably do. You probably work right next to a guy that you laugh with every single day at your job for the last 10 years over a bunch of different things. Radio shows you've listened to, jokes you've heard, things he told you, you told him. You guys are actually friends.
Yeah. I mean,
but you refuse to look at it that way. Yeah. You refuse outside of the workplace to go, Marcus is my friend. Yeah. You just won't do it.
He is my friend.
But Mark and Jay over here, we're running around going, we're just riding Marcus's back going, yeah, Marcus, you are the man, baby. No,
like I don't know if I hate more white people.
Like a horse?
like
a horse?
Like if I don't know if I
don't know where
hate
that
more.
came from.
Oh, no.
But
It's just weird. It's weird.
I can tell you that of the people in my personal life that I despise throughout my life, and I'm 49,
sure,
none of them are black. None of them are Mexican. None of them are Muslim. None of them. They're all white dudes.
I have
every single one of them.
Listen,
and most of them reside in my hometown.
I have a do not interact with list in my life, as some people do, and many people have a mental list of individuals that they just prefer to avoid. Listen, as you become older as an adult, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of you out there listening here on KYRO or wherever you're listening at in the world, you understand this if you are an adult. As you become older, it's never you're wishing harm on anyone else. It's never, well, hear me out. Maybe
not harm. How about bad fortune?
Listen. You're not even most of the time worried about...
I generally don't do that.
No, to be honest, you're not even usually, when you make these decisions or put people on these lists, you're not even in a mode mentally to wish them bad fortune in most cases. You just want them to go away, be not a part of your situation or your life or whatever's going on.
You got it.
And hey, listen, if you run into each other, listen, I have had knockdown, drag-out arguments with people that I thought was just the scorched earth. End of the story, end of the game. Like, there's no way. Run into the person 5 years later, somewhere else, just randomly. You know what I'm saying? Just run into them. Perfectly cordial conversation. Hey, how you been? I've been fine. How have you been? I've been good. You know, this is so-and-so and blah, blah, blah is going on. Oh, yeah, I talked to so-and-so. That. And then after like a 2-minute conversation in most cases, boom, you just move on your way. And that's it. That's how most of it fizzles out. That's how most of it goes in life. And it's just being an adult. Like, there are people that me and Jay,
we don't like.
Yeah. No, it's not that we don't like them. We're not against these people. Like I said, we're not against. Okay, fine. Jason is. No, my point is it's not that we don't like them. They've just done things that are not kosher.
Yeah, they have no importance to
us. We move on from those things, and they can go do their thing. We don't wish them any bad fortune in their life.
Some of them are already dead.
We're not going to wish them any good fortune in their life either. It's not a situation of one way or the other is what I want everybody to know, too. Like, some people are just, hey, I'm busy doing this and focused on this, and if you're not, that's cool. You don't have to be. You can go do your own thing.
Wouldn't it be great, like in the real world in our lives, if we had like a Batman Riddler relationship with someone, like where we saw them, we just fought with them immediately, like
it's
like we had a nemesis,
like the chicken and Peter Griffin, like every time they see,
like if Batman's
on
site for real.
He's cruising down the street in Gotham and he sees the Joker, he's gonna jump out of his car, go over and just start pounding.
Walmart with your family on site.
But that doesn't exist.
Now,
That's really
have you
like
ever
that.
Now, on-site is a little bit more of a urban culture situation. You don't see that a lot in white America.
Well, they don't get down.
You set it up like that.
Well,
you dirty for that.
This is taking some crazy turn. Like, you don't see that kind of stuff with white people.
That's fine.
You was so dirty, but the way you set that up.
It's like unintentional racism. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't even mean that. That's not what.
No, I'm not.
Sound like that inside my head.
Not even going to back off the comment. Not even going to back off the comment.
That is true.
You guys didn't allow me to have to finish the statement. So if I would have been allowed to finish the statement, I could have gotten to the end of it, which would have been simply this. In other cultures, like white culture,
that is true.
This is not something that is done or talked about very often directly. And in black culture, it is usually announced literally at the moment that it's going to happen. This is on site. Literally, they'll say something to a friend of theirs like, yo, did you see Marcus is over there? Oh, yeah, it's on site. Like, it's announced that it is on site. So, my question for Marcus was simply going to be, Marcus, have you ever been in a situation with a friend where you watched something go on site? Like, where you were with a friend and it went on site?
I have not. Thank you, God.
You have not. Well, I'm going to beat the crap out of Jason during this break, and it is on site.
You know what I think it is, though? I think in the black culture, and Marcus obviously knows this, they don't have passive aggressiveness the way that white people do.
There's a
passive aggressive.
It's no passive, it's just aggressive.
Right? That white people will hate you quietly.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break here on this show before I get accused of being a racist again. And Jonathan May's not even here to be the one to do it as usual. It's usually Jonathan.
Call him on the phone and
Mark's a racist, this white boy.
I'm going to call Jonathan, you can't believe what he
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here on the Q. When we come back, more with myself, Marcus Boston, and Jason Kull will be back right after this. 1280 AM, 105.3 FM, KYRO. Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer. I love it. Welcome back to the Q. Don't forget, coming up here in just a little bit, we've got our top action movies of the teens, the 2010s. And we've already done the 90s, the 80s, and the 2000s, the aughts, as Jason likes to call it. Correct,
yes.
Jay? The aughts.
It is the aughts.
If you're not saying the aughts, Marcus, you're not up to date.
Right? There's no point in talking anymore.
What do you call it? Do you call it the 2010s or the aughts, sir?
I call it 2010s.
You call it the 2010s?
The early.
I graduated 03, so it's 2010s for us.
The 2010s? You graduated in 03?
Yeah.
Whoa, shoot! You got a 20-year coming up.
Not going. I wish I. Look, sir.
Wait. Hold on. Listen.
He's right. I did not go to any single reunion
hold on.
ever.
Fair enough. Hold on 1 second here. I'm going to turn these microphones up because I can't have no interruptions on this. Ladies and gentlemen, on the last episode of the Q that Marcus was on, I saw some posts. They made me curious, and we had to find out, is this a lovable man? Is this a man that can be loved? Is this a man that is worthy of love in a relationship? Or is this just a dog out there looking for some treats? Okay? A dog looking for a bone. Okay. Now, we are now on the next episode a few weeks later with our friend Marcus Boston. And you have just alerted us to the fact that your 20-year high school reunion is coming up next year. Right? 2023 would be your 20 years. Because you graduated in 03. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Get it all out. All right. Now. You're not going to the 20-year high school reunion. First off, what school is it?
Brentwood High School.
It's Brentwood High School, so it's not even far away. It's not like it's you live in St. Louis and it's down in Alabama or it's over in New York or wherever the hell you could live. Correct. It's literally right down the road from your house. Okay. Now, you don't want to go or you're unwilling to go. Let's flush this out a little bit here. Is it an unwillingness or is it a reason why, or is there just a lack of care?
I have no interest of going to see.
Speak up so they can hear you.
I have no interest in going to see people I don't hang with already now.
There you
All
go.
the high school friends I like, I talk to them now.
Now, question. Have you been to any of your high school reunions?
That is no, sir.
You have not been. And have you been to any of your?
I have not, but not because I hate the people. I do, but not because of that. Every time that they've set it up, they set it up in times where I couldn't go. First time was my friend's wedding, which I was in. The second time, they had it over Father's Day weekend. I'm not driving back there on Father's Day weekend. Get out of here. And then the other time, I lost interest.
Talk about ruining my 20-year high school reunion. I mean, geez.
Right?
Some guy named Darren Wilson decided to kill a kid named Michael Brown the day mine happened.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
and by the
Darren,
way, we decided to schedule it at Ferguson Brewing Company, 2 blocks from the police department, night of the shooting, 6 months before this even happened.
That's where you want to be.
Do you understand? Literally, my high school reunion happens 2 blocks away from the Ferguson Police Department the day that Darren Wilson killed Michael Brown, left his body in the streets for hours on end, and pissed off the entire St. Louis community and the world on top of it. Do you understand? Like, that's how my high school and by the way, a little bit on the top, okay? Wasn't paying attention to the news all day. Marky Mark over here had no clue that this even happened. So Mark's outside, and I famously have told the story on the show before. Mark's outside hanging out, having a cigarette, talking to some friends from high school. After 20 years, they haven't talked to him. And all of a sudden, here comes a group of black people doing a candlelight vigil with young wild men up in front, screaming and jumping around, and then the one stops, points right at me, in front of me and like 4 other black guys and a couple other white dudes and a couple other girls, like points right at me and goes, and we need to kill all the white people just like him. And pointed right at me because I was the closest, literally, and I had my back turned to them. I turned around to say something to the dude, and my buddy Reggie, a black man, grabs me, pulls me off the side, says, no, not right now. Let me handle this. And then he literally went and handled the situation. Came back. I had no idea. He tells me the story of all the Michael Brown stuff that was happening throughout the day and what was going on. I had no clue. Not from the minute I got there, from the minute I walked in and had my first beer, not until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. It's dark out. Getting darker out or whatever it was. Not until then that I find out or I figure this out. Craziness.
That was a rough time.
And the war goes to Mark Bland.
No. My point being, the reason I brought this up is because you just don't want to interact with these people. But I will say this. I went to my 20th high school reunion a little like you, like not sure that this is where I want to be or that this is something that has any value to me specifically. I actually had a good time. Regardless of that story and things that happened within and around it. I did have a good time talking to old classmates, people I hadn't seen in a long time, and just catching up. You know what I'm saying? There was always the table I could go back to catch up with my old friends like you're talking about that you just keep up with anyway. And I could go back to that table and catch up. Well, I've been talking to so-and-so over there. Oh, okay. But then I could go out and I could be like, I haven't seen you in 20 years. Let's talk.
You know what?
I haven't seen you in 20 years. Let's talk. You should think about that.
If I go, I'm going to bang somebody.
Whoa.
If I'm going, can I say that? Is that I try to?
Of course you can do that.
I try to make sure I didn't cuss.
No, that's not cuss. But
I thought that maybe if I go back, I'm going to knock somebody down. So either I stay at home, mind my business, live my life. I'm going with a mission, and I'm going to win. I'm going to ruin somebody's marriage, somebody whatever. I'm going to make up for lost time. You remember back in the day when?
My first one, there was no Facebook at the time, so I didn't know if I liked anyone still. Now with Facebook and other social media, I've realized there are people I went to high school with that I do like, but I'm not friends with them. Like, I don't go back home and hang out with them. I don't do anything like that. So to go back and sit around and eat terrible food and do whatever with these people, it didn't seem to have a point.
Damn it! I dropped my phone in the toilet.
Yeah, I'm going to get it in. I'm knocking somebody's down. At least 2. Somebody get it. I'm walking in by myself. I'm leaving with somebody's wife. Whoever's available, whatever. Who wants it?
I have something to tell you.
So I feel it's better off I just stay at home and mind my business. That's it. I'm going in with all demon time.
You definitely have a different reason for not going than I did, because
you just I'm going to go get banged.
I've seen quite a few of the people that I went to high school with, and there's none of that.
I feel like you're in high school
I
again.
can tell you that,
make her feel some type of way.
Like really, like I don't know what happened to these people, but they are
I had the biggest crush on you back in the day.
Right? No,
20
yeah.
years later.
Like I
She ain't been
remember.
designed in 15 years.
Like
Had
I
the
can
biggest crush on
remember.
you.
I can remember some of these people thinking back then, like wow, I really wanted to date this person. But now I'm like, I'm glad I didn't date this person because they are disgusting now.
He a good person. I'm going in and I'm going to act a fool.
Yeah,
I'm trying to make somebody mama forget she
Hey
a
there,
mother.
sweetie. How old are you?
16.
18. You're first.
Mom!
I like where this is going. Giggity, giggity,
There's
giggity.
Marcus showing up,
Where's the mother?
hitting on the catering staff.
Oh, my goodness.
Somebody getting served.
Be like, man, you put that muscatuli down. We're gonna have a talk
Okay, so what you need?
because it's a St.
Heard
Louis
of Bitcoin?
reunion, so there's definitely muscatuli there.
All right. I got something I want to ask you two gentlemen about.
Mm-hmm.
Are you into science much? Do you get into science? Are you into science and finding out about science stuff?
I do like science. I'm a registered Democrat, so it's obviously
So you actually,
Yeah.
whoa, Jesus, that's
Whoa,
so
look at him
loud. He's gulping it. It's
like hammering it.
Wow.
He just went to town like a champ.
Oh, he's parched. Woo.
I know you guys can hear this.
Yeah, man, we're doing a live radio show on a Fox radio station. This isn't some podcast, bro.
I just have this picture of
What are you
Marcus
doing?
right at the doorway of the event center, just
Giggity giggity.
pounding a bottle, boom, crashing it out in the doorway, and he goes.
Listen, can you imagine, Marcus? He first off,
I'll go with you if you want to go.
He's going to take care of business out in the parking lot, but it gets worse than that because he turns around and he's like, hey, listen, we don't even need the bar in here. All right, I could go out. I got supplies in my car. I can take care of all of this. All right, science. Wormholes. Check this out. A wormhole is created inside a quantum computer that teleported a message from one side to the other, and this could help science observe the theorized passages in real space. Now, this kind of goes back to the whole we've made everything up on this planet type thing, and maybe it falls in that, but wormholes are theorized passages that create shortcuts in space and time. It would be a tunnel that allows connections between two distant points, allowing things to travel in a shorter time. Scientists created a holographic wormhole inside of a quantum computer. Okay, hold on. The team made it by simulating two black holes in the system, one on each side. They sent a message through one side and watched it emerge on the other. Now, this, if it was legitimate, I'm not saying this isn't legitimate.
Isn't that called
science.
a text message?
Okay. I'm not saying that this isn't legitimate science, okay? I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is if this was so groundbreaking of that level right there, that they were like, listen, we've cracked the code to black holes and to wormholes.
Let's
like
get going on
they
time travel.
literally have the ability to connect to other ends. So if we wanted to send something towards a black hole and see if now we have sent satellites and all kinds of things towards black
you're not gonna
holes,
make it through a black
and nothing has ever come back to us at all on the other side. Now, when I'm reading this story, it says they created a holographic wormhole. Now, if you're creating a hologram or anything holographic, it's already simulated and man-made in the first place.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that you created some fake black wormholes inside
to work exactly like you wanted it
to work exactly the way you wanted it to, and then threw it into the system, and then you just had it do what you wanted it to do.
But,
And I don't know if that's really science at that level.
The idea of time travel with wormholes actually goes back to Einstein because they had asked him once about time travel, and he had said like wormholes could do that, but you wouldn't survive it. You'd go into a wormhole and
You're just going to perish.
Yeah, you're going to be shredded apart. Or
what if
you
there
put
was
there.
a human being? Listen, do you think, guys, people would get behind this? I'm going to actually have to hear from you on this one, Marcus.
Yeah, stop drinking.
Jesus. No, the point is would, if a person was willing, remember they had the competition a few years ago to send somebody who was going to go live on Mars.
Yeah, right.
And then they even whittled it down to a person, and then it was all planned, but then it all like got quiet and nobody talked about it. And then it was
ended up being
gone.
Matt Damon.
And
Look
then
how that ended up.
Yeah, look at that. No. If there was a person who was willing to take the shot, I'm going to jump into a spaceship. I'm going to live in this thing as long as I have to. I don't know where the closest black hole is. No. Is there a way to get us there faster? And if they looked the person in the face and said, it's going to take you 75 years from today to get to the closest.
Like, I'm 49. I'll be way dead.
I'll be way dead before this starts. Probably not going to try.
I won't even get halfway there before I die.
But if there was something within range of like 10 to 15 years, and a person was willing to jump in a spaceship and go after it, and then they get there, and then they were willing to like suck into it just to go find out what happens and boom, see if they could find a way to come back or get message to us to let us know what happened or where they're at. Okay? Do you think an Elon Musk or these people that are always talking about going to stupid places would fund that? Because at least that right there, whether you like it or not, you can talk about making Mars sustainable for a dozen years from today. Yeah. It's not going to change the physical ability for anyone on this earth to enjoy living or being around a Martian surface anytime within their lifetime now. Well, it's not going to happen.
If something like that existed in planning stages, Elon Musk would get behind it, but he would just show up, throw money at it, then take it over and take the credit.
That's my point. If you like to just throw money at things and take credit, this seems like the perfect thing where a person's willing to go find this out for sure.
I wish he'd go try. I wish he'd go try to live on Mars.
Dude, this Elon Musk situation is crazy.
It's crazy.
This is nuts. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break here on the Q. When we come back, I want to talk to all of you about Elon Musk, the things he's been saying and doing. Now, we talked a little bit about Elon, if you remember, just a few episodes ago. But, I want to, go down some other places because this dude is gone. I'm going to read just some of his tweets. I'm just going to go to his live Twitter.
The most
and
billionaire in the
I'm
world.
going to read this, and we are going to have an honest discussion about Elon Musk, whether he takes my verified check mark from me or not. Which everybody seems... The best is when blue check marks go, oh, you bought that. And I go, yeah, but you can click on mine and yours and you see different messages. You're a liar. You're a loser.
My favorite thing is the people that comment, even on your stuff, on my stuff, or just on anything, and you click on their check mark and it's because they paid $8.
It says
that cuts
they're
them
verified
down
because they paid for Twitter Blue. And I go, I just trust you less. I think that you're just a hack nobody whack. Because literally you were the people... You people that went and bought that already before he canceled it and made you pay the $8 anyway, and you guys are now stuck with it. You are the people that would sit there and complain about not having one for all of these years leading up till now, and you're the first one to get out and go, see, now I'm like you. And it's no, that's not how it ever worked. I'll explain later.
That's like buying a jersey and putting your name on it.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Q. We'll be back on this show after this. 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO. This is the Q. You're listening to us on this Saturday. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. It's always good to see all the people out there, talk to all the wonderful people inside here. And I've got a couple of wonderful people here with myself, hanging out. Marcus Boston, Jason Kull. We went to break. And we were talking a little bit about our friend Elon Musk. Our buddy. Our pal.
Yeah.
Elon Musk.
Comrade.
Now, Marcus, you weren't here the last time we had our Elon Musk discussion. Mm-hmm. So first quick question. Let's get this on the board right now so that everybody's on the same page. Where do you stand on Elon Musk? What's your theories, your thoughts on Elon Musk, what you've seen him do recently, him as a person? Just kind of give us your background on what you kind of know and what you kind of think.
Well, him being an African American.
Okay.
Factually accurate.
Factually accurate.
I know. Which is a whole nother conversation.
Is it? Because here's the thing. He can look you in the face and say, I'm an African American, and you can literally say, no, you're not.
You and Charlize Theron.
Blood Emerald.
Charlize Theron is also African American.
Could Russell Crowe say I'm African American, and then just get away with it, and we would just be like, you're Russell Crowe. You can be whoever you want, buddy.
Throw the flag.
What about if Keanu Reeves said he was African American?
Throw the flag again.
You're on a Keanu?
Sorry, John Wick.
Oh, my goodness. You're going to put John Wick like that?
Not
a little bit of there's some John
Johnny.
Wick 4 trailers popping up.
It looks good, too. I'm there.
All right. So, Elon Musk.
This is another rich white man going rich white man, I guess.
Right? Rich white men are going to rich white men.
I like the concept of Tesla. I wish Tesla would have, been more convicted to his passion when he got, wrote over by Edison, but that's a whole conversation.
That's a different conversation. That is an entire show we could have. Right
I know I touched on a landmine right there, but
is it because we talk about Tesla now as much as we talk about Edison? And I feel like when I was growing up and younger, there was a lot more talk of the focus is on Edison. Like
I thought
Tesla,
Edison was a good guy. I thought Edison's great. No, he's a horrible human being.
He was a rotten individual.
Tesla was a gangster.
Do you know how many?
Not a
do you know how many of our former glorious historical figures, black, white, and everything, all across the board? Listen,
people
we're
suck.
bad people,
People
just
suck.
really behind the scenes. Great for whatever they did here. Right? It's like George Washington Carver, great for the peanuts and the peanut farms and all this other pedophile behind the scenes, maybe. Okay, that's kind of that's a tough one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying George Washington Carver was a pedophile.
Yeah, just like,
that's not a true statement at all.
Like young girls,
we're making examples.
You tell a young girl line, like, I like them young, but it makes sense when it did. Now it's like, do you still date young girls?
If you want to look at historical figures in a different light, watch that 3-part Ken Burns, the U.S. and the Holocaust on PBS. It shows.
Now, I have not seen that.
Henry Ford.
Ken Burns has got a ton of great stuff that I have not seen. I've seen some of it. Like I saw half of the Civil War documentary, which was great. Yeah. I saw the baseball one, obviously. That was always great. Some people are like that. He's like the Quentin Tarantino of like documentary films.
He has a Prohibition one that's only a couple of episodes.
I've seen that one.
Good.
I've seen that one too. That one's pretty good.
Dust Bowl
but he's got like 30 of them that I haven't seen.
But this
These
one,
are crazy.
it's new. It's like in the last month or two. And
I'll see your civil rights. I was say Civil War. I'll raise you the curse of Von Dutch docuseries.
Really? The Curse of Von Dutch. Oh wait, was that the one you and Cecil were watching?
No. This is something different. This is something I've watched by myself recently, like today. I've been on Hulu watching documentaries and the
Curse of Von Dutch.
Yeah,
Von Dutch was like a thing.
Well, Von Dutch was a huge thing. It was a very popular pop cultural clothing company.
I had no idea behind the backstory. But Elon Musk,
it was trucker hats, wasn't it?
It was a whole thing, bro.
But it was the trucker hats that made them. Everybody started wearing the Von Dutch trucker hats. And I think if we're going to give anybody credit for Von Dutch taking off, it's what's his name? Yeah, that 70s show dude. Ashton Kutcher. Exactly.
Yeah.
There it is. That's the trucker hat dude that took it off. Right? Like him and Dax and all them on Punk'd.
Who's the one that started the Bass Pro hats? That's been big. The last few
I don't know.
Bass Pro hats.
Bass Pro hats have started to come around the last 6 to 8 months pretty heavily, and I'm not sure who it is.
What TikToker did this?
Right.
It could have just been. It could have been Kanye West. Honestly, it could have been. And we're talking about Elon Musk, and I feel like, in a weird way, prior to COVID, Kanye West was married to this extremely sexy woman named Kim Kardashian. They had kids. They were doing fashion shows and putting out big stage productions that they wanted everybody to tune into once every year and a half. Like, it was just like normal life, and you weren't hearing about Kanye saying this or being anti-Semitic that or blah, 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 this or what. All that was fine, and then COVID hit. And it was like Kanye went nuts. Got divorced, lost his mind, started talking about moved everywhere. Elon Musk went nuts right before COVID. Elon Musk is just the rich guy with Tesla, and he's got Twitter. He's got a Twitter.
Got 12 kids.
He's got a Twitter, but he's dating the rock star Grimes at the time, and like they're married, and like they're married or whatever, and like he's got this normal life down in Texas, just running Tesla like a normal person. COVID hits. We start to come out of COVID, and just like Kanye, Elon is nuts. He is lashing out, buying $44 billion companies at 2 o'clock in the morning. He's firing everybody, getting locked out of Twitter headquarters. He's in the middle of yelling at every person that he can find. Let me pull my Twitter out right now. Let me pull this out.
You know, if Apple follows through, Twitter's done.
Hold on.
spent $44 billion on something that's worthless.
Yeah, and he knows that, and that's the problem, and that's
And he
why
won't
he's
stop, though.
But that's why you're okay.
He
so,
still won't stop.
So
he
let
still
me.
keeps
All I gotta
posting
do
and saying ridiculous things.
All I got to do is search up Elon Musk. Okay, so we're gonna click Elon Musk.
If you lose all 44
Elon
billion,
Musk
how many
follows
billions you have left?
132 people, but not me. Okay, now, I'm not going to lie to you. It says 119.6 Twitter followers,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
probably true now, since he bought the company.
Yeah, you can
But I feel like there's a bunch of bot in there. I feel like at least, I mean, think about it. Presidents of the United
There has
States
to be.
had 80 million
Yeah,
followers or
Obama has
60
almost
million,
90 million.
90 million followers and stuff like that. And Elon Musk has never been as popular or as historically accurate, iconic as Barack Obama was. So there's no way that. Okay. So first off, let's see here. Good conversation. This is just out of the. Oh, wait, hold on. This is on something else. Thanks, Tim Cook, for taking me around Apple's beautiful headquarters. Good conversation. Among other things, we resolved the misunderstanding about Twitter potentially being removed from the App Store. Tim was clear that Apple never considered doing so. Okay. That's what Elon Musk has tweeted out.
We'll see what
All right.
Tim Cook follows up on.
I don't know, but unless let me go check current trends, because that would be a big story right now in the middle of everything that's going on. No, right now, basketball's trending and wrestling stuff and all kinds of stuff.
With this whole Apple thing and Twitter, I just wish Americans would understand what the First Amendment protects you from. It does not protect you from apps and tech companies. It doesn't even protect you from like H&M. It only protects you from the government.
That's
Local, state, federal. They can't punish you because you speak up. They can't start sending
Can't force you to
IRS
do
But you
at
can't
you.
get
They
fired.
Yeah, they can't.
But you can get fired.
But
That's
yeah,
right.
you can totally get fired. And
So today, most of today, Jason, sorry to cut you through,
no, go.
but most of today has been SpaceX retweets and Neuralink.
Just more
Neuralink
stuff. More stuff he didn't
updates.
start.
Neuralink updates. He said 21 hours ago, Twitter core services latently reduced by 400 milliseconds should feel noticeably faster, but nobody cares about micro milliseconds of Twitter's update ability when most of the times our cell phone service isn't great everywhere we're
Right.
at. So when
it's
we go to
always
upload
slow.
things anyway to people, we're always kind of like,
button.
what's that?
Elon, he'll get an edit button.
If you buy Twitter Blue, I bet.
That is one of the features in that.
You get it if you get Twitter Blue.
I'm glad I'm not
He's
good on
different.
Twitter. I'm not good on
for-
Twitter.
Reportedly being a genius.
More progress on Mars.
Well, that's the thing.
What? Who cares?
he's-
no one's going to Mars.
He's a genius with knowledge nobody cares about. He knows Bitcoin and rocket technology or something. It's maybe the rocket technology, but outside of that, he can't function in a normal conversation about
That's how my
life.
biography was boring.
Well, he's just I don't know.
Steve Jobs was way better.
He's just
Steve's dead.
he's a rich kid on steroids. He's just up here.
He's African American.
And because of that,
Listen. I need everyone to listen up, okay? I understand that Elon is doing great things that you are excited about, okay? Whether it's the next Tesla car, whether it's the Cybertruck, whether it's the Neuralink, whether it's the thing that he uses for the satellite over the different Starlink or whatever for the different countries and all this other, whatever it is, I get it. The guy's doing science, Tony Stark type Bond villain stuff.
Totally a Bond villain.
That's what he's doing, okay? And it's cool. It's great. And you got alpha male guys out there like Nick Adams, the alpha males. And they're letting you know that Elon's an alpha male like you are.
You guys are such annoying.
Hey, you know you want to know what's going on, Jason Kull? How you doing, Jason Kull? It's me over here. It's Alex Jones. Hey, listen, if you guys want to get some of those squeeze berries, you want to get those squeeze berries, put those in your it's going to get you the boner pills. Marcus, you got any boner pills over there, Marcus? Do you know about the boner pills? Listen, I get 25% off on boner pills. If you'd like to join us here at Infowars.com. Infowars.com.
I don't need
He
more
just
pills.
sneaks in. He's so awful.
But my point being is, All these people went crazy at the same time. And now we got all this craziness. And by the way, this dude is taking on Apple. Like you said, at the top, right off the bat, you're taking on Apple.
The most
Apple doesn't care about you. Here's the thing.
Richest corporation in the
He spent an entire day here tweeting about how Apple was a bad company because they were thinking about, and they put out a release that said that they were thinking about taking, if Twitter continued down the road in the path it's going, taking it off of the App Store and not allowing Apple users to have access to that app specifically that they own. Now, mind you, people who are on Twitter would find a third party or a side app.
Yeah, or just log into the computer.
Those companies would not be prohibited. What they said was they would take Twitter's app off of the App Store. So they directly, the authentic app, wouldn't have the access to everybody.
I'm off Twitter then.
But my point being is that's stupid. Listen, this dude has made dumb move after dumb move. And it's like and I said it the last time, all you had to do was sit back. All you had to do is sit back and then add up the things that you wanted to do. Don't attack people because they're well known and you can't control that because you're an authoritarian, because you come from apartheid South Africa where your family funded apartheid for many, many years as you were growing up. And by the way, I'm not going to knock you for being 12 years old, not being able to control the family's diamond mine interests and where the money went. You're 12. I understand that. You were a human being and you had to grow up. The problem is that how you never really kind of owned up to it when people did ask you about it when you were older. You never really owned up and said, yeah, I am. And it's never it's never, listen, I will also say this. I don't think that you've blatantly come out and denied it either. So I can say that for you for whatever it's worth. But at the same point, you've been asked many a time about that relationship between your family, apartheid, and the money you guys have made. And so it's obvious that, and I talked about this when I was when I did when I was on the show, the stuff over with Cliff Central over in Africa.
Yep.
And slowly I talked about how Gareth Cliff started to become more of a Trump supporter. And he's a white African who lives in South Africa. The same place Elon Musk is born and grows up and comes from. And I started to put two and two together with the Elon stuff after I had already left the relationship with Gareth and the stuff with Cliff Central, which isn't a bad guy. I liked Gareth. Gareth was always what I would consider cordial towards me. I just feel like he went down some paths that were a little bit Trumpian, and he made it very obvious that that's where he was at. But that's how Elon is. Now, supposedly they're beefing or whatever, but yeah, sure. My point being, that's where we're at with Elon Musk. It's this guy who now has a handle on being able to push multiple tweets anytime he wants to every person who has access to it. And right now, if he pushes a tweet from a private account, 119 million people in the United States see what he says.
And his followers
and his argument now here's the problem. Are Elon followers, they niche?
I don't know.
Are they niche?
You know what? It's almost like they're almost worse than Trump's because you have all of Trump's dumb followers, and then you have all these techie, nerd, weirdo Bitcoin dudes who are smarter, so they're a little more dangerous.
Right. And you know what that is? That Jason, that is they grew up on the internet.
Yeah.
And over the last 15 years, as social media became more and more prevalent and the ability to share memes and troll, the idea of hiding behind your computer screen and just saying whatever you want, that's how they grew up.
Their life is the internet.
But when they were 12, that's what they were. They were 12 years old on that internet the way it is and what it allows. So they went to the places we all can go to. They just chose to go to those places. And while you and me didn't go to 4chan,
they have zero social.
Excuse me. I'm not going to lie. I was definitely an avid 4chan user myself.
Sure, I've been there.
But my point being is at this age right now, unless something pops up that says 4chan specifically in a news story, I don't even go anywhere near 4chan ever. The worst I ever might get is Reddit. That might be the worst I ever do.
Really, 4chan and Reddit are really only there to see the screwed up videos that the news won't show. Like
That's
when
true.
something crazy happens, like there's live video of
Good.
shootings or
But once
crazy
again,
things like that.
there's a
That's what
place
that's
on
for.
the internet where they keep free speech open, technically.
Yeah.
And they allow things to be seen if you want to view them.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a problem with that. Now, you're 12 years old. You have access to those same places. You're going to see stuff at a young age that you and me and him didn't see when we were younger. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have access to the internet the way it is. You graduate in 2003.
Yes.
2003 is still the beginning of high-speed internet. We are still in the
you're
first
still
3
in.
years
I
of
know
it.
dial-up in the AOL 1,000-hour disc you put in
When
there.
he was a freshman in high school, that dude still had to dial up to AOL. By the time he graduates, he literally is going 15 megabyte downloads, which is nothing now. 15 megabyte downloads is nothing now. Like you're pushing
spit in the
2, 3,
bucket.
4, 500
Yeah.
for your cheap plans on Charter nowadays.
Yeah.
So guess what?
Yeah.
That is nothing.
got
That
fiber
was
optics,
super fast. That was
I got
super
fiber
fast.
out here, baby. Fiber, baby. You hear me? Fiber optics, baby.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break here on the Q. When we come back, it is time for us to do the Tournament of Pop Culture. Best action movies of the 2010s. This is part of our larger 1980s. Best action movies since the 1980s tournament that we are going to be getting the final contestant in the final 4 of that tournament is coming up on a show here probably next week. We'll probably finish it all up next week. But we got that coming up here on KYRO. So stick with us here on News Radio KYRO. You can always check out theqnow.com during this break. We'll be back after this. 1280 AM KYRO. Mark Bland, the Q. Our boy Jason Kull. Our friend Marcus Boston. And it is now time for us, ladies and gentlemen, to do the 2010, the teens region of the best action movie since 1980. Marcus, are you prepared for this, sir?
Absolutely.
Now you have you've been paying attention. You've been a part of Tournament of Pop Cultures before,
Yes.
so you are old
80s,
hat
isn't he?
to this. You are
Yes.
old hat to this. Many a time you've done this with me. Jason over there is ready and excited, but you have not been a part of any of our prior.
I did the 80s with
Oh,
you.
you did the 80s with me. That's
Yeah.
right. You did do the 80s with me. All right. Well, then it's time for us to do the 2010s.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Grand opening, grand closing. So, I want to explain that in the first 3 rounds, we went off of the pre-made brackets.
no
that,
changes.
That no change. Well, there was
Well,
one
it was a couple-
change.
yeah.
There was a couple changes on the 90s, or one change in the 90s, or the 80s, or whatever it
There
was.
was like a rather repeated.
But it was a repeater type situation.
From
So
a-
anyway,
from a franchise.
the point being, all of those were pre-mades that we just played off of.
It's true.
For the 2010s, because of how fast Inglourious Bastards walked through the competition,
Burn it like hot knife through.
like it was a hot knife through butter. It really was. I wanted the 2010s to have a little more diversity. Let's just say that. I want them
Thank
to
you.
be a little bit more diverse. And you're welcome, Marcus.
Minority delegation appreciates your inclusion. Thank you.
All right. Negron. Negron is what they say for the color
That's how they talk.
black in other countries. Okay. All right. Here's the deal. I had to go through and I looked at the original setup that they had already had for the bar stool or whatever it was, the pre-made one that we were already using. And I noticed quite a few ones that probably didn't need to be there, other ones that could have been there.
Yeah.
And I felt like I needed to do a little more due diligence on this one. So for the 2010 bracket, I went and I did the research ups. And we definitely got ourselves a more diverse and I would say relatively stronger overall pairings of some of these movies. Now, that doesn't mean an Inglourious Bastards can't happen again. That doesn't mean that something couldn't walk off of this list and just seemed like it's just going to walk through everything. But what I'm saying is that I feel like there's going to be a little bit better matchups, even if it gets into the later rounds. So let's get this started. You ready? You ready, Marcus? Let us do it.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Round 1 is going to be the Benicio del Toro movie, Sicario. which is a basically a cartel movie. Movie about like drug cartels. Really dope ending. Great movie. Solid movie. In my opinion. It's going up against John Wick #2. Now, I could have put John Wick #1 on this list, but John Wick #1 was not as strong, I felt, as John Wick #2. John Wick #2 is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, dude, that's a tough one because Sicario also delivers on that edgy action, like police style, spy, whatever, that heightened John Wick over the topness type thing. Man, I don't know. I love Sicario. Sicario was great. Sicario's good acting. It's got a great storyline.
Yeah.
I still think I'm going to go John Wick 2. I'm going John Wick 2. Sicario.
I am going to. You know what? Because both movies have a lot of dead people in it, but only in one movie is most of it done by one guy. So I'm going to go John Wick 2.
All right, John Wick 2 moves
He just killed
forward.
so many people.
But when he killed everybody at the table, though, he went in and got the cartel guy at the table, killed the whole family at the dinner table.
Yeah.
That was some gangster. That was
I can
gangster.
say that was one guy.
Don't be telling everybody the
Man,
ending.
Sicario, it's been 2 of them by now. Sicario's but the
All
odds.
right, all right. Well, that's a good point.
That's like not knowing, like,
The end
Luke
of
is
Seinfeld.
Darth's
Like,
kid.
come on.
all right. This one, I feel like, I don't know if this is a good matchup, but we're going to find out. Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise sci-fi flick, really
That is
solid
a really
movie.
good movie. That's an
a
underrated
really
movie.
Good, underrated. And, here's the problem. The problem is Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
His career is so diverse and has got so much great Academy Award
just
style
slid
stuff in
under the
it,
radar.
so much great action stuff in it. It slides under the radar, kind of like
good.
Magnolia. It just kind of slides under the radar, and that might be some of his better work, honestly. That's going to go up against Inception. Leonardo DiCaprio, the dream inside a dream, inside a dream, inside a dream.
that didn't
It's
hit for
confusion.
me.
Though I did like Inception.
It is almost a little pretentious.
Is
I
it as
guess.
good as Edge of Tomorrow?
No.
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah.
I don't
You're
know.
not gonna stop and watch. You're not gonna stop and
I
watch.
like, but Inception's a big movie too. Like that's a bigger cast. That's a very diverse cast. That's the kind of movie that goes for Academy Awards. Like it's
But
Edge of Tomorrow's
Edge
not
of
going
Tomorrow
for it.
sort of
It might
has like a
gone
time
for
travel
something.
feel to it, even though it kind of
Yeah.
is, but kind of isn't. And I'm a sucker for I kind of just love that kind of stuff.
Like Looper, things like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You
like he's
that?
not really time traveling, but he sort of is. He keeps just, sort of like
Changing
Groundhog Day
timelines,
with,
yeah.
A
with
lot of
murder.
water. A lot of water in that movie. A lot of water.
Inception though. Confusing if you're not
It
paying
can be-
attention.
yeah. Except for, like I said, it's-
you got to be committed. You got commitment
Inception's
issues.
almost like the snobby people at a coffee shop. You know,
But Inception's more of
they're
like your
pretty cool.
classic movie. Like
Yes.
like Chariots of Fire or Gone with the Wind. Like Inception falls into that category
Yeah.
way more than Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow. So
Edge of Tomorrow is like a well-acted
That's a movie
summer
versus-
blockbuster.
that's a
all right,
movie
I think
versus
I'm going to
film.
go Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
All right,
it's
Edge-
unanimous.
Edge of Tomorrow and Tom Cruise move on through. Next one, Mission Impossible Fallout versus Fast and the Furious 5. Fast 5. Which was kind of the bring back for the so if people don't remember, at one point people had already had enough of the Fast and the Furious franchise and they felt they needed to kind of reboot things a little bit. Yeah. Fast 5 was their attempt at the reboot, and it really went well. You brought back some of the main characters we loved. We mixed some other players up that were from other movies. Remember, by the time they get to 5, now they have a little bit
They're in
more.
Brazil.
Yeah, they're in Brazil. They have a little bit more challenge. To
Rock
work with it.
shows up.
The Rock
You know-
shows up. Exactly. So Fast 5 adds to the
A
casting.
lot of times with action movies, when you get up to like the 5th one, it starts to fall apart. But the Mission Impossible, that's what the 4th one.
Mission
So it's not
Impossible
like-
Fallout, yeah.
Yeah, or 4th
Fourth or fifth, one
Yeah,
of the
something
two.
like that.
That was the one he was in Dubai in the
It
motorcycle on the
runs-
sandstorm.
I don't mind the Mission Impossible movies. I am not a sucker for a spy movie.
Yeah, no.
So when I say that, like a James Bond movie, I love James Bond, and I think he's fantastic. But I don't have to see a James Bond movie. Like, I'm not drawn to
You'll
these
get to it.
styles of movies. Fast and the Furious, I am drawn to that. That first one is arguably one of the better movies of the last 20 years in general. The first Fast and the Furious. The original.
Yeah, I want to see what stunts impossible. That can't happen. There's no way he's surviving.
Fast 5 is the last time that it seems relatively plausible, the things that were happening in the Fast and the Furious franchise. After Fast 5, they start doing like space trips.
Fast 5 was good till the ending. There's no way these two chargers is dragging this 1 ton safe around Brazil. There's no way. This is not happening.
All right,
Then you switch it out under the bypass of 44 in Hampton. Got it.
I'll start it to see where you two are at. I'm going Mission Impossible Fallout.
I'm going to go Fast and Furious.
I'm Fast 5. Well, I'm just saying Fast 5.
All right.
Everything said Fast 5.
Captain America Winter Soldier.
Oh, why would you do this?
Captain America Winter Soldier. Because they're action. They're action movies.
What year is this? 2000?
It's the 2000, the teens. It's all the teens.
What year was this movie? 2000?
What? Winter Soldier's what, 12, 13?
14.
13, 14?
Maybe?
Somewhere around
14,
there.
right. Okay. Dang,
It's better than the first one. The first one was great.
Winter Soldier, which is, I'll say it, versus Star Wars Force Awakens. Now, Winter Soldier is by far, in my opinion, way better than Captain America 1.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is a much, much better movie.
So
and by the
much
way,
better.
might be the most underrated of all of the movies.
Of their separate movies,
of the separate movies. Because honestly, Winter Soldier, solid enough that till this day, after I saw it the first time, I'll still say, I think it gives Endgame and Infinity War a run for their money.
And
as far as a movie goes.
Well, it's not just an action
like it's
movie.
a good
it has
movie.
A story to it, and it ties
Robert
things
Redford.
together.
Well, Robert Redford's the bad guy.
Right?
You really pretty much got a hit.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sticking with
Jason's on the song.
But on the other side of this, we got Star Wars Force Awakens.
And that's the better
This is
one
the
of
beginning of the
final three.
Of the final three.
That's what she finds the Falcon.
Yeah,
this is the first movie of the Rey series. Yeah. This is where we learn about all the things that are on Disney Plus today. They weren't on Disney Plus then, but they're on Disney Plus today.
That's a good one, but it doesn't tie together the overall storyline.
I think I'm going to go Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
I think I'm going to go Winter Soldier. Okay, Winter Soldier is moving on this one, and you might think that that's a bit of maybe an upset there, ladies.
That was harder than what you would think it would be.
Django Unchained.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, there we go.
Versus Kick-Ass.
Wow. Kick-Ass is great, but it's
Django.
But it's an action movie, and it's a fun movie. It's got a good
niche,
cast.
though.
It's got a kid cast. Here's the problem. Here's the thing with Kick-Ass.
But it is clever.
Everybody who sees Kick-Ass, once they finally see it and realize what it is, they go, "Oh, I like that. I don't mind it." I'm not going to say they're going to put it in their top 500 movies of all time. I'm just saying they
like
go, "Oh, I
movie.
get it," and that's a solid movie. Like I'm glad that I saw that.
Kick-Ass is like an HBO movie. If you're scrolling through and
But
it's on.
in this case, Django's like a cheat code. That's like a
matchup,
cheat code.
Yeah,
that's like a cheat code, right?
Bad matchup.
Django's a cheat code.
Django's one of those
Bad
movies that
matchup
have
there.
scenes where you like the opening scene. I just love where they're all out in the woods and they've got these two racist brothers on horses. It's just great.
Who made these hoods?
Right? and then you have like deeper in the movie.
Well, I think that's what's great. I think what's really great about Quentin Tarantino is he builds the racism up to chop it back down. He builds it up to turn around and chopping it back down. And I like that. I like that because that's smart. That's smart. It allows you to control how far and how deep you want to go.
Well,
but it also allows you to move things forward and have a reason to knock it back down and then rebuild it back up.
It does.
Avengers Endgame.
Oh, man.
Versus War on the Planet of the Apes. War of the Planet of the Apes.
That's pretty easy. I don't even remember anything about War of the Planet of the Apes. Although those aren't good.
The Planet of the Apes movies, I felt, were decent movies.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they were the greatest thing I had ever seen, but I thought, hey, compared to the Mark Wahlberg one and some of the other stuff that, needed to be updated anyway, these are good, and the CGI looks solid. And what was his name? Caesar? Caesar.
Yeah.
I like Caesar. I always thought Caesar was a great character.
Yeah, I didn't see.
Endgame was sort of fun.
Well, I didn't see any
Endgame was sort of
There's no
fun.
fun in the water. It's just like it's a good movie, but like this is not fun.
But
I just don't think it's going to hold up to Endgame because it's just more of an action flick.
I didn't see any of the Planet of the Apes movies in the theater. One Black Friday, I bought all 3 of them in a set on Blu-ray. It was like $9. I was like, oh, done. I'll just get this and watch them.
Not $9. All 3.
All 3 of them,
That's
right?
a bad size.
And it came with the digital one. So
all right, so here's what we're going to do. We've got Avengers Endgame or War of the Planet of the Apes.
No, Endgame.
Endgame.
Yeah.
All right. So
Endgame's a tearjerker.
James Bond, Skyfall.
Ooh,
Daniel Craig. Not a bad movie.
That's a good Daniel Craig one.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Is it as good as Casino Royale? I don't know.
Casino Royale.
Or well,
can be
then
kinda
again,
slowish.
Casino Royale. Yeah, exactly.
Skyfall's pretty good. It's got a lot of cool fights in it.
Skyfall versus Deadpool. And it only had to be fair, guys. I had to put
I like Deadpool
great
2 more.
action movies that were super popular, and you can't get much more popular than Deadpool over the last 7 years, honestly.
Skyfall. 'Cause I'm bougie.
You're going to go Skyfall because you're well. Now let's be honest. The type of stuff that you get in Skyfall is more like Mission Impossible. It's a larger, it's more grand in the scheme of the way that they go about it. Versus Deadpool, which is a little bit more tongue in cheek on the action side, but the action, the stop motion, the cameras, the way he plays with it,
fourth wall stuff
it's the fourth wall. It's fantastic. I just don't think that Skyfall's as good as. I would rather watch Deadpool than Skyfall. I just would rather watch. Then again, I said, not the biggest James Bond freak. I love the show, the movies. They're fine.
I do love James Bond a lot. I'm
bougie and I drive a English car.
I got the
so you're going to go
box
Skyfall.
set for Christmas.
Skyfall
ones.
for me.
What about you, sir?
Bougie.
Oh man, that's so hard. I'm gonna go Skyfall only because I like Deadpool 2 a little more.
Yes, bougie.
All right, Skyfall wins. All right, finally, and that might be an upset right there.
Absolutely.
Drive versus Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road. Drive versus Mad Max Fury Road. Now, Mad Max Fury Road brings the franchise back.
For an Academy Award.
Nominated for an Academy Award. Really good, very colorful, very interesting to look at.
Yeah.
It keeps your attention. Great acting. Drive, on the other hand, a little bit slower of a movie in the sense that it's not like Fury Road. Fury Road's just go, 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 go. Drive is go, go, go. It's sections, but it's more like Italian Job and those type of movies. It's like, it's kind of grittier. It's almost like your classic, just like Bullet or whatever, like your classic kind of like action movie.
The pace and the look and the feel of Drive reminds me of Boondock Saints.
Mm-hmm.
That type of level of
sure, and those type
action.
of movies seem to be the ones that get a little bit more notoriety.
It's grittier looking.
Is it as good as Fury Road?
No, because it's
Fury Road.
shot like it's not an action film. And Fury Road is shot like it's an action film.
Fury Road. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to do the next few rounds and finals of this tournament of pop culture. We'll be back on the queue. Best action movies of the 2010s after this. $12:80 a.m. KYRO. Mark Bland, Marcus Boston, Jason Kull, hanging out with you guys today on this Saturday. We're doing the best action movies of the 2010s. We are into the second round. We are moving forward, and this is going to go a lot faster simply because, well, we've already talked about it, quite a few of these. It's just going to come down to the matchups at this point, guys. That's all that's going to happen here. Now, Marcus, next round, sir. Are you ready?
Absolutely. I almost cussed.
John Wick 2 versus Edge of Tomorrow.
John Wick number 2, please.
John Wick number 2 versus Edge of Tomorrow. Now, I like This is tough. Keanu's a well-known action star. Did stuff in the 90s with Speed and all that. Tom's always been an action star with Top Gun and all that stuff. So, we got two heavyweights in the action category. Man, I don't know. Straight up an action film, I think John Wick 2 is where it stands. Edge of Tomorrow is a little bit more of a twist on the sci-fi action side of things. So, that's a different vibe of action. You know, it's still action, just like Endgame or all those movies and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think I'm going to go John Wick 2 on this one. I think, then again, Edge of Tomorrow's got a unique storyline.
You know what? Wait, what did you say?
John Wick 2, please.
All right, I'm going to make it harder on you. I'm going Edge of Tomorrow.
Move this chair down.
You're going to go Edge of Tomorrow.
I am gonna go
Why are
Edge
you
of
being
Tomorrow.
such a different person? You're better than this.
I like John Wick, but John Wick has 3 to choose from. Edge of Tomorrow as a standalone movie, I think is better than John Wick 2. Because I almost like John Wick 3 a little more.
We're not talking about 1 or 3. Sorry, we're talking about 2.
But it always finds its way
You're
into
doing too much.
I'm gonna go John Wick 2.
Thank you, reasonable person.
No.
I said I'm fine with either one.
He said he's fine with
You
either one.
bring the other thing. It's about 2 versus Edge Tomorrow. Nothing else.
No, we always do that.
Fast 5.
Can't be helped.
Next round. Fast 5 versus Winter Soldier. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult of a matchup, I feel. Fast 5 is solid. I feel like the addition of The Rock does help out that franchise a bit. The movies are really good. I always like the car chase scenes and everything that has to do with that.
My mind's made up. It's like walking into my polling place. I already know what I'm going to say.
Winter Soldier is by far one of the... I would say Winter Soldier is a top 3 Marvel film.
Yeah, and they have like
I would
20
say Winter,
films
they got
or
like
something
20
that.
films
Yeah,
at this point, and they're all action based. And I would say Winter Soldier's top 3 of those.
It's really good. It might not be as good as maybe Endgame and
I don't know though. Here's the thing though. I
it's not
feel
as good
like
as No Way Home.
Here's the thing. I will say this though. Fast and the Furious is such a good action franchise that they've gotten
I know,
it up
they
to
got
what
10,
8,
9
9,
or
10.
10.
They're on their way. Like they're up there. That's how,
and one of their main stars died during it.
and that's
They're
what I'm
still going.
saying. Exactly. So it's such a good franchise that it's like even weathering all these other storms, I feel like Fast and the Furious might be the better action movie. But then again, it's also bringing a different vibe to the table. You know what I'm
Did
saying?
they kill off Paul Walker?
What
in
would
those
you
movies?
rather see? Fast 5 versus John Wick 2 or Winter Soldier versus John Wick 2? That's what it's almost kind of coming down to.
I thought you were going to say, what would you rather see, Fast and Furious or
No, I'm not going to ask you those because
time to vote yet?
I mean, it's coming down to this.
I know. I'll
Where do
jump
you want to
out.
go?
Winter Soldier, please.
Winter Soldier.
All right,
that's
then
right.
Winter Soldier. We could have just gotten through all that. Okay.
I was sitting.
I was letting you go. You were.
All right, no, here we
Making
go.
a point.
No, it's okay.
I'll let
It's
you make a
okay.
point.
Avengers Endgame. Tough movie. Good movie, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
One of your favorites?
Yeah.
How many times have you seen it?
Multiple.
Multiple.
It's also TBS every other week.
Yeah.
Right?
TNT.
I always find it when I go on Disney Plus or my Vudu. It's like, oh, I'll
I'm
just
at
click
work.
this.
I put it on the TV.
Better character? Thanos or Leonardo DiCaprio in Django Unchained? Better character.
Thanos
It's
wants to
Django.
kill more people.
Here we
but
go.
It's Django.
Django is evil. Thanos is doing it because he thinks
say
he's
I'm-
right and he thinks
Well,
he's
choose
helping
No,
people.
no. Leo's character is well
He's
acted
evil.
and it is great. Thanos I like because it's well written.
Yeah.
But as far as like the better of the two characters, I like that one is more entertaining. But I also
'Cause
think
he's
that
actually kinda
that
funny,
one
too.
is kind of like a parody of itself. Thanos actually, he gets me thinking on things. Like he's got me like working my mental. You know what?
Thanos
Maybe
was
I'll
right.
do that too. I think I might do that.
Point there.
The other
like,
one just
yeah,
makes
had
you
a
want
point.
to
He
kill him.
wants fair. He just said half
Yeah.
randomly. He picked a half.
But if
He
I had
said
to choose
randomly.
between the two characters, I feel like I like Leo's character. Not like the character, but like I like that acting job. I like the
Yeah, no,
overall
no.
of it. So Django versus Endgame.
I want Endgame.
You won Endgame,
Yeah.
but Jamie Foxx and Morgan Freeman and
I can't even watch Django no more because it don't feel good no more.
it don't feel good no more. What do you mean it don't feel good?
The language choice. just
Was it?
the topic.
Did it feel good at one point?
I didn't know as much as I did then. When it came out, my conscience was different than now. Like I can't. sit
What was your
through a movie.
conscience at that time?
Just funny. People say the N word and it's okay. Slavery, ha ha he he.
It's definitely
Now I
in
was
that
like,
movie.
you know what? I'm cool. Like I've seen it enough.
But
I'm
wait.
cool.
Django's not. Well, first off, Django is rewritten by Quentin Tarantino.
Right.
Like Django was a movie that came out when he was growing up. There's a black and white movie you can see.
Right.
Okay. So it's not a movie that's like pushing the idea for the sake of pushing the idea.
Yeah,
it's
not the movie,
literally
it's me. It's not the movie, it's me.
Oh, that's the movie's you?
No, that's not the movie, it's me. I'm different than
I
what I
see.
was when
Yeah,
it
I
came
see.
out. Like,
All right.
yeah.
You're going Endgame.
I'm going Endgame only because Django's a better movie.
Okay.
But action-wise, Endgame is mostly action. There's a lot more fighting. Django's really only action.
It doesn't
at the end,
surprise me.
really.
Listen. The Marvel movies really popped off in the in the teens. Like we opened up with Tony Stark in the mid-aughts, and we had a couple of movies that we had like Thor and all that. That was it.
Set-up movies.
But it wasn't until we get to like 2010, 11, and we start to like make the big moves with the bigger like cash in the Civil Wars and all that. That's when we really start to like boom, 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 take leaps and bounds. So, all right, next round or not next round, the last one of the grade 8 here. Skyfall versus Fury Road.
It's the bad boy versus the bougie man. Ooh, it's the bad boy versus the bougie man.
Skyfall versus Fury Road. Both big epic movies.
It's
Ducati
like
versus Harley Davidson.
Both of them.
dinner party versus corner bar.
It is. It is.
Aston
This
Martin.
is.
Right?
I mean, that's literally what this is, ladies and gentlemen.
Aston Martin Hellcat.
This is a South City dive bar like 1860 Soulard
Versus Napoli.
versus
Clayton.
versus
Like a winery.
versus the 1880s Chop House or the 1800s
801 Chop House.
or the 801
Chop House.
versus 801 Chop House.
That's not even fair.
It's not even a fair matchup, is it? You hear that?
I'm gonna.
Where would you rather be, though? Would you rather be at the Chop House sipping a brandy, or would you rather be over at the dive bar throwing some darts?
You know, I'd rather be
that's a-
I'd rather be sipping the brandy because that'll close early, and then on my way home, I swing by the dive bar.
Okay, you're just trying to play with the words now. Okay, we're trying to get to the actual.
Skyfall.
answer.
I'm going Skyfall.
Same
You're going to go Skyfall.
I gotta stay bougie, but Skyfall. Man.
I am going to go Endgame. Or, sorry, Fury Road. Fury Road. Fury Road.
I am gonna go Skyfall.
Yeah!
Only 'cause I love
Ooh,
Bond
look at
stuff.
that.
Let's go, bougie.
I just love Bond stuff.
Wow, you talked up Fury Road so hard.
But it
too.
is good.
He was, no, wait, hold up. Marcus was dead set on Fury Road being like, yes, Fury Road for sure. Like, he didn't even allow a breath to enter into his body before he answered after
wasn't
I
a
gave
quick
him the
answer.
choice. And, like, the minute Skyfall, he's like, yeah, I
was
just
almost
like
like he
James
was-
Bond. I like Daniel Craig in his skimpy underwear shorts.
He
or
literally
whatever.
was like only waiting for you to stop talking to say Fury Road. That's how
All right.
fast he was going to say Fury Road.
All right. Let's take this serious because it's going to get serious for Marcus right now.
I'm gonna cry.
This is going to cry. Yeah, this is a tough one. John Wick 2
Okay.
versus your Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Wow, that's good.
I feel like Marcus, though, is gearing it to be something like a Marvel ending for no reason. And I don't know
manipulating the
why
system.
you would do that. And if you're just a big Marvel fan, that's
I'm
fine,
not-
but you got to be open-minded.
I'm just being who I am.
I think Winter Soldier is a better movie than John Wick 2.
Yeah.
I really do think that. So, all right, Winter Soldier is made it.
Robert Redford was is a Marvel villain, fam. Like a legendary
That's okay. He's just
actor.
an actor.
But
He's
he's
just
legendary. I love
Yeah,
Robert
there's a
Redford.
lot of those guys out there. Okay,
You know, it's hard to.
Oh, nobody else can ever be the Joker. It's
I
got to
didn't
be
say
Jack
that. I didn't
Nicholson.
say that. But Robert Redford was playing himself.
Got to be Jack Nicholson.
It's hard to leave the better movie.
You mean the
out
guy that was in that Night movie with the chicks on horseback?
But you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to discredit the better movie. The only time I ever take action in is when they're both great movie, like when they're equally like good
I wish
films.
I could have been here for like Die
Well,
Hard with
Winter
Vengeance.
Soldier and John Wick, I feel, are on the same par and level with each other. It's just a different vibe. Like this goes espionage and like the gritty
is more of
hitman.
a-
This one is the hitman too. Actually, both of them are about hitmen.
Yeah.
they're both
Right,
about
right,
hitmen,
right,
literally.
right.
But John Wick is more of a chaos film.
Right, it's more realistic.
Yeah.
Whereas everything with the Marvel, it's a superhero doing superhero stuff around normal people.
Aliens are
America's in a
coming.
small elevator. You beat up 10 people and
And
jumped out of a
here's the thing,
5-story window.
Here's the thing. When you look at Winter Soldier in the Marvel movies, you go, Yeah, I could probably go to that city. It looks like a place that exists.
Right? Until that happens.
With John Wick, you look at it and you go, have I been to that bar right there? Like that one that's on the side of the street right there?
Wasn't what happened on KMOV the other day?
All right. Here we go. Endgame versus Skyfall. Stab that Marvel dark heart with a spear because it could be over with. Now,
Skyfall.
I think
gangster.
My boozy's wearing off. I think.
Skyfall is good.
I think he'll abandon me at some point.
All right, let's put all the pressure on Mark. I'm going.
Right.
I'm going.
Putting the
Skyfall.
pressure on me is a bad idea, and I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you
I
what.
don't trust Mark.
No, it's not about trusting Mark. Hear me out.
But I do like.
I already said that I'm not like a go-to Bond guy.
Yeah, that's
so I take Bond for what it is. Big, epic, action, spy espionage film.
Right.
Okay? Cool.
It's got a look
And I
to
get
it.
just as much budget on a Skyfall pick as I'm getting on Endgame. For sure. The same type
bet
of budgets.
it's very close.
Similar budgets. I didn't say the exact. Like,
Maybe
I'm
the
sure
CGI budget's
one
different,
be 80
but the
million,
total
one could be
budget.
100 million, but I'm just saying they're within range of each other, okay? And we're playing game for game, right? Endgame felt like it wrapped up quite a bit of
It
stuff.
did. Well, it ended an
Like
entire.
it really felt like it wrapped
A
up
whole phase.
a whole
a
phase.
phase.
Yeah,
it
was
did.
the end of that.
But it really felt like it wrapped up a whole phase.
What do you guys
Like
think of the new
It
phase?
felt big. It felt like a big deal. Skyfall just felt like the next Bond movie, and you didn't know if it was going to be a good one or a bad one because they're kind of hit and miss.
Because he was.
Well,
He had
and-
Spectre
Right?
and
Octopussy
Bond,
was good, but
But Bond
Ain't
movies.
it always?
Bond movies are mostly episodic. They don't really connect really.
Right.
Whereas Endgame ended
Clearly is a
like
chain.
all Marvel films
But
are
here's the
connected.
problem. Here's the problem. Endgame, is it a standalone? No. Skyfall can stand alone. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
But that's what I mean, the
But
Bond
it's the
films
best
are-
action flick. And I think more people spent money at the theater to see
yeah,
Endgame
yeah.
than Skyfall.
'Cause
So
of the
then
conclusion.
Endgame is the bigger of the action movies in this case. And that's where we are
And
at,
that's
ladies and
where
gentlemen.
you compare when they're both good acted movies, and like you said, budgets are equal. You go by which one's more action.
All right, here we go. Winter Soldier,
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
Captain America, Winter Soldier,
he's the man.
versus Endgame. Avengers Endgame. Now, I
How do you
think the
judge
better
Marvel
of the two movies is Winter Soldier. I didn't say that it's so far above Endgame that Endgame doesn't matter, and I'm not saying that Endgame doesn't have a lot of great things and pieces that make it a part of this. I feel like kind of like the argument with Skyfall versus Endgame, Winter Soldier, complete total movie. Even though it's a piece within a line of movies, I feel like Winter Soldier is a pretty good standalone, just beginning to end movie. You don't have to know a lot about the stuff with Captain America prior to it because it all comes out in the wash down the.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to.
You see what I'm saying?
You'd have to see Infinity War to really understand what's going on in Endgame.
Exactly, and I feel like that's the only knock on Endgame. It requires another movie for you to really get where they're at.
Endgame is kind of like Return of the King, where it's Academy Award worthy. It is that good of a movie, and it is up there. I don't know though. Winter Soldier. We're talking about action flicks. We can't really talk about the action within the movies because it'd be equal action. Honestly, they're going to give me just as much in one as the other. Yeah.
It's just different types of action.
Well,
Yes, sir. Marcus, go ahead. Speak.
I fast forward through the first 2 hours of Endgame. I get to the last hour
The
for
fight?
the battle scene. I watched the whole movie of Winter Soldier, so my vote is Winter Soldier.
And I think I'm going to go Winter Soldier.
I was going to go Endgame.
All right, fair enough, ladies and gentlemen. And even though Endgame probably did outsell at the theater,
Well, it has
Winter
everybody.
Soldier, it has everybody in it. I'm going to go Winter Soldier myself. So the winner of the best action movies of the 2010s is Winter Soldier. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us on that note right there. It is time for us to get out of here on the Q. First off, I want to thank my brother from Always Forward Media, the Soulardians, part of the Cooch Crew, part of Sinbad's trio back in the 1990s. He's been on stage with Chris Rock and everybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank you to Marcus Onesimus Boston. Thank you, Marcus Boston.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, sir. Jason Kull.
Yes.
Another week with you,
one.
you and me, in the
Hanging
books.
out.
Fantastic.
Staring.
How do you feel about this ending? Winter Soldier. How do you feel about
know,
this? How is this sitting with you right now? You got this look on your face.
I'm fine with it because I think Marvel films dictate that decade of action films.
Okay.
You know, real quick before
And I
we
think
get
that
out,
yeah, what's up?
What's your grade for post-Endgame Marvel films?
For post Endgame,
don't-
like the movies that have come out
Yeah,
since
like
Endgame.
since then,
How
I
many
just-
movies have come out since Endgame? Like
I love
3 or 4?
Shang-Chi. I love
Shang-Chi.
Oh, the
Thor.
newer
Strange.
characters that they're trying
Just
to.
the new movies.
I did not like the Doctor Strange Part 2.
Doctor Strange.
I did not
I
like.
do. I like multiverse.
I did
you
not like
know.
multiverse. I thought I didn't like the girl.
Well,
I didn't.
one
I
of the-
didn't-
Oh, America.
Scarlet Witch
Here's the
or whatever
thing
it is.
is-
I didn't. I
She
think it was
so
a very good.
easy to hate.
But I didn't think it was any. I didn't think that's the problem for me.
Right.
I didn't feel like you were a super villain of any sort. Like you just feel like exactly
Yeah.
like just a person who's a bad person. It's like just go sit in a room over there and just don't do anything. You're good.
The weird thing with Marvel is really the TV stuff, the Disney Plus stuff, has been better than some of the films.
Oh, yes,
like
by far.
Loki and the
Loki was
Soldier.
better. Winter Soldier. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us with our friend Jason Kull as well over here. Thank you so much, Jason Kull, for being on the show. And make sure you guys check out theqnow.com, TheQNOW.com. Old episodes, new episodes, and everything in between. Make sure you check us out every single Saturday here on 1280 AM News Radio KYRO.com. That's newsradiokyro.com. That's going to do it for us on this episode of The Q. We will see you guys next time on the show.
You're just taking too much from it. They say the niggas I was with was making too much money. And the niggas like us was making too much money. And everything we had was costing too much money. And on my side, you're just taking too much from it.